Well, I have quite a few stories for you guys. In this video, I'm going to talk about 3 stories that happened to me. They were pretty awful. They made me want to quit. And the first 2 happened within the first 2 weeks of me getting my own truck and going out on my own. The third one was about a month into my truck driving career solo. So, you know, I wanted to make this video. It's going to be a fun video. It's going to be entertaining. And I wanted to let all you new truck drivers know out there that you're not alone. You know, everybody goes through these things. You know, it's not special or out of the ordinary or only happening to you. And I'm sure you old hands out there, all you guys will be able to relate to these stories and laugh and probably reminisce on some of your own. So stick around. So I got my CDL back in March of 2012, and so this is about November of 2020, so about 8.5 years later, and I still remember these stories like they happened yesterday. You know, I wound up at the time, you know, that was my graduation date from truck driving school, and from that point I went on a trainer truck, and so I was 6 weeks in a trainer truck. And, you know, went through that. The very first load that I took out of Lancaster, Texas, I took it over to Plainview, Texas, which is over by Lubbock. It was just a simple drop and hook, you know, nothing special. On that first load, actually, the new trailer that I picked up, I had to call and get a tire changed. That happened. Oh, I don't even know how many times that happened. I would say it happened like a third of the time. It was crazy. But the second load that I picked up was a meat load, and this meat load had, I don't remember how many stops on it, but it was like 6 or 7 stops. It was a lot. There was a couple stops in Ohio, there was a couple stops in New Jersey, there was a stop in Washington DC, and then there was I think another stop in Maryland. So if I'm remembering right, if I actually remember all the drops, that adds up to what, 6? But so the second drop in Ohio. The first drop was in Ohio. The second drop was also in Ohio. I was there. I don't remember where I was at, but I remember it was this really big yard, and there was this big U that was in the back, and there were a long line of trucks. And, you know, I mean, I'm just being a new truck driver, just kind of enjoying everything, and, you know, just kind of grinning ear to ear, and, you know, trying to take care of things, trying to, you know, and not be a super trucker, but I didn't really know what it was like to be a truck driver yet. So, you know, I was out and about trying to clean the truck and wipe things off and check to make sure that everything was good. And in the process of doing all of this, I had, you know, I keep my gloves in my side box. I still do that to this day. Well, that particular side box, when you closed it, it was locked. And I was in a Cascadia, and you know, so this particular truck, I can lock the side box and unlock it. So if I close it and I leave something in there, I can get it out. Well, that wasn't the case with this one. And I happened to lock my keys in the truck. So, like an idiot, rather than calling the company, getting someone out there to actually unlock it for me, the first thing I actually did was ask some guys around me if they had keys that would open that side box, because kind of back in the day, I don't know if it's still this way, like Freightliner only made X amount of keys per different trucks, so there was only like 3 or 4 keys. So it was a good possibility, if you like locked your keys in your truck, that you could go find another Cascadia, or at least a few of them, and have someone open your truck for you. But I couldn't find anybody that had the right key, and I don't even know if the side box worked. It worked for the doors for sure, but I proceeded, this is so embarrassing. I proceeded to actually basically peel the door back, or peel that side box door back. I kind of bent the side box door, and I reached my hand in there. I scraped my hand all up. I had cuts all up and down my arms, reached in there and grabbed my keys. Now, this was an hour's worth of work, an hour's worth. Oh, I felt like an absolute idiot. I mean, it was just, oh, it was so bad. And you know, that was my first week out on the job, it was so embarrassing. I mean, I looked around and there were other truck drivers that were watching me, that were just laughing at me. And I mean, rightfully so, you know, that was dumb. Should have just called a locksmith out there, paid the 40, 50 bucks, whatever, and went on about my life. But no. I decided to do it the hard way because ego got in the way. So don't ever let your ego get in the way. Now, on this same trip, so the next story takes place in Washington, D.C. Now, Washington, D.C., this was interesting. I remember on the Qualcomm, or actually I had PeoplesNet. On the PeoplesNet, I had a message for all of my drops with the times and everything like that. And I remember looking at the PeoplesNet and seeing 12 p.m. So I thought, okay, you know, I rolled into DC it was like 10 in the morning or something like that. I don't remember precisely what time it was, but it was time that there was a ton of traffic on the road. So 10 really doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but whatever, that's not part of the story. Well, this place was off of, you know, it was kind of off the beaten path. It was down a very small 2-lane road. And so I made my way over there. There was this roundabout that was, you know, I was really nervous about, really scared of, because there were cars everywhere. And, you know, my truck was swerving over, or the trailer was swerving over, and it was going up on the curb, and it was nerve-wracking. So I get over there and I exit that roundabout, and then I make the left on that 2-lane road. So I make the left on the 2-lane road, and I'm noticing that all the cars behind me, they're turning behind me. So now, you know, I'm a little bit more on edge, I would say, because I'm looking around and I don't see the sign that I need for the place that I'm going. And I'm slow rolling, going down this 2-lane, and I'm getting honked at, and I'm sure probably cussed at, but honked at for sure. And I don't see this place. So I just kind of slowly keep going. Well, as I get past a certain point, the buildings that were there was a no truck sign. And immediately after that no truck sign, I roll into a neighborhood. And so one of the things that I remembered them telling me in truck driving school was that if you start knocking limbs down off of trees, you're probably in a place that you shouldn't be. Guess what I was doing? Oh, I was trimming all the trees in that neighborhood that day. And I'm knocking trees down. I'm hearing it scrape. My heart's racing 100 miles an hour. I'm freaking out. Well, you know, it's super tight neighborhood, and the cars that were parked there were parked along the edges of the road. So even though I was making a left-hand turn, you know, in that neighborhood, it was so close. I almost, you know, trailer almost hit the guys on the parked on the left-hand side. I mean, just absolute disaster of a nightmare. And I finally make my way back over to that roundabout. And I muster up the courage. I'm like, you know what? All right, let's try this again. Because this was before the whole, you know, really before the smartphone era, before you could pull up maps on your phone, but it was nothing like what we have today. I mean, there was certainly no Google Earth where you could zoom in and you know, look to see somebody that's walking to their car at the time that the picture was taken. So didn't have that. And so I get to the roundabout. This time I have to go all the way around the roundabout. So I'm just, you know, I'm terrified. In the center of this roundabout, let me paint you this picture. There were pylons that were sticking up, concrete pylons. And, you know, my trailer's just going right beside everything. Heart's racing again. I get over there, you know, honked at, of course, in the roundabout, just normal DC stuff. I turn out of the roundabout. I make the left onto the road again. Cars are turning in behind me again. I'm being honked at from behind again. This time I don't care. This time I'm like in second gear. I'm slow roll. I'm just creeping through this place. I mean, I'm freaking looking, you know, left, right. I don't see anything. I don't even see trucks anywhere in this place to signify that, you know, like this is where I should be. I don't see any docks anywhere. I mean, I see nothing. And once again, I get to make the trip through the neighborhood with the no truck zone. So I'm freaking out again. I'm trimming more trees down. I guess, you know, needed another pass in case I just missed some on the first route. This time I get back over to that roundabout, but rather than going, you know, trying to make a third pass, I saw there was a road that was coming off of it the opposite way. And it was a 2-lane road, and it was, you know, 2 lanes both ways. I get in that right-hand lane, and I get far enough away from kind of the intersection. I pulled the brakes right there. There was a Jack-in-the-Box at that intersection. I walked back to that Jack-in-the-Box just fuming. I was so upset and so embarrassed about what was going on and the situation that was going on. And, you know, I went, I sat down and I ate. And I just thought about it. And like, what went through my mind was, you know, I really want to quit. Like, I'm gonna leave this truck right here on the side of the road. I'm gonna pack up one backpack. I'm leaving all my crap in the truck. I don't care if I ever get it back. I'm going home. And that's what I was thinking. So as I calmed down, I got the food in me and I started to think about it. I said, no, you know what? I've come this far. I've gotten the keys out of the locked side box, you know, in the side. I've driven through Washington, D.C. At this point, I've already been through New Jersey, and New Jersey was just crazy. I mean, it's not like I was on interstates over there. I was in back roads, traffic everywhere, super tight. I thought to myself, you know what? If I can make it this far, let's give this a shot. Let's give this a shot. So I actually walked. And I was about 2 miles away. I walked 2 miles over to the place that I was supposed to be delivering. I was actually in the right spot, but they literally had no signs on, you know, anywhere to let you know that was there. What was on the front of the building was the actual address number. And so, yeah, mental note from that point forward, I always knew my address numbers of where I was headed. Well, this turn was insane. And anyway, I went in there, I spoke with them, and remember how I told you that the delivery was supposed to be at 12 p.m.? Yeah, it was actually 12 a.m. So that way you could get in and out of this place without having to deal with the massive amounts of traffic. So, knowing that, I was like, look, I don't have anywhere to go. There's no truck stops that are remotely close to Washington, D.C. Can I park, you know, in your dock? That way I can stay here. I've got a place to stay. You know, I'll just do whatever, and then come midnight, we'll get unloaded. I'll go about my business. Now, they could probably see on my face the terror and the embarrassment of what was going on. So thankfully, they actually let me do that. And when I got back over there, the turn into this place was it was crazy. I should have actually moved my tandems all the way forward before I made this turn, because when I actually turned into this place, I used every inch of room that I had. I turned into this place, and even still, using all the room that I had, my trailers still ran over this curb because it was a ramp that it went up beside the building. Then you had to turn into this parking lot. There was barely enough space to straighten out your truck. Then you had to back up, and the docks were at an angle. Once you backed into the docks at the angle, your truck was, my truck was less than 1 foot away from the fence that was in front of me, while my trailer was actually touching the back. So got lucky again because I didn't have to pull forward. They had enough room where I could actually open the doors right there in the dock. So, whoo, dodged that bullet. But, you know, running over that curb as I was going up that ramp, I mean, my mirror over on this side was like 2 inches away from the wall. You know, I'm almost running over this curb on the left-hand side, and it was just an absolute disaster, nightmare. But survived that one. The third story, which was about a month or so, you know, it was a couple weeks later, you know, after I made that delivery, I was very frustrated. But then as that frustration left and I processed everything, I thought, you know what, if I can survive that, being a new truck driver, really not having many skills, then I should be able to do this. I should be able to survive anything. You know, I didn't hit anything, I didn't run over anything, or at least nothing that would cause damage. And, you know, so I thought, you know what, I can do this. So, you know, that actually, rather than being a deterrent, forcing me, or not forcing me, but driving me to quit this industry, to quit trucking, it actually gave me the confidence to move forward and know that I can handle myself in, you know, tougher situations. Although that one almost broke me. But so about a month in, so a few weeks later, 2 or 3 weeks later, something like that, I had a delivery, or actually it was a drop, and I had to make that up in Detroit. Now, they have a drop yard in like downtown Detroit, on the wrong side of the tracks, if you catch my drift. And this drop yard was there for Canadian Crossing. Now, I don't know if that was just our company in particular, or if this was kind of a generic thing. It seemed more like a generic thing, because I saw a bunch of different types of trailers, different companies and such in there. And so I get up there, you know, no issue up until this point. Everything was going smooth. I turned down that lane, and as I'm going along, you know, I'm looking, I'm doing my whole left-right thing, and I look left at the last second, and as I'm going by, boom, there's my driveway, and there goes the sign as I'm driving by, with trucks behind me and trucks coming from the opposite direction. So I'm like, oh my God, this sucks. That's not where the story gets interesting. Where the story gets interesting is, you know, I tried to get turned around, and I just kept going straight because I didn't want to get, you know, I didn't want to lose my sense of direction. Well, this road that I was on turned into what looked like a scene from 8 Mile. It looked like I was just 100% in the wrong side of the tracks. And this was a point in time when they told you, I mean, like, you got messages that when you're going to Detroit, that you should park about 60 miles away, drive in, don't stop, lock your doors, don't answer, don't open the door for anybody, don't roll down the window for anybody, make your delivery, and get the hell out of there. Don't hang out in Detroit, don't stay parked overnight, none of those things. So, all of that, you know, is going through my head, and I'm going down this street, and this is like, you know, this is the middle of the week, this is around lunchtime. I'm seeing all these people just hanging out in front of their house, hanging out on the porch, drinking 40s everywhere. Like, it was just, oh, I cannot explain to you the amount of terror that I was experiencing at that point. And you know, it was kind of unwarranted, because now looking back at the situation, it wasn't a scary situation, sure. Could it have gone wrong? Yeah, maybe, but you know, there was nothing to be scared about. But I was terrified, because this whole experience was new. You know, I'm still a new truck driver and still learning. I mean, I still learn to this day. I don't consider myself necessarily a massively experienced truck driver, but you know, at that time, certainly not. And so that just exacerbates the whole, you know, the whole situation. That just makes it so much worse at the time. You know, just heart is just beating out of your chest, and just scariness. Overall, just flat scary. Anyway, I did wind up getting out of there. You know, I made a left, then made 3 lefts and then a right. So I was able to get back exactly where I needed to be. Everything was all good, but very, very nerve-wracking, very extreme. Just wanted to share these experiences with you guys. You know, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments. If you're an old truck driver, tell me your story. What's your scariest new truck driver story that you have? That way all these other, you know, these new truck drivers can kind of see that. Maybe they'll feel a little bit better about themselves, knowing that we've all been through this stuff. We've all been through these things that they're about to go through, or they've just gone through, or they're, you know, worried about experiencing. You know, leave those comments down below. Let me know if you like this video. If you like this video, I'll come up with some more stories. I've got a ton of them. Those are the 3 that really stand out to me, because they were so early in my career. But I promise you, I've made lots of mistakes. Heck, I've made lots of mistakes recently, so it happens all of the time. You know, just try to keep your cool, just try to remember to breathe, and just, you know, if you do get in that trouble spot, try to pull over somewhere. Don't just keep driving. That's like the worst thing you could do, and I did it twice. Don't do that. Pull over, get stopped, you know, find yourself, figure out your bearings. If you don't have cell phone service, go and ask someone. Usually people are willing to help. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, ring that notification bell so you know when the next video is coming out. Check out one of these right over here. YouTube does a great job of letting you know what you should watch next, I guess. Anyway, as always, guys, stay driven.